Character inspiration. In a thriller movie, there are many different types of character roles. This can be linked to narrative theory by Vladimir Prop. He believes that for every story there is a set list of characters who fulfill different roles, as for example there are three main types of characters. The protagonist/hero, the antagonist/villain, and the princess/damsel in distress. These are usually featured in a thriller film, but there are a few examples of characters who go against these conventions. There are also different roles that characters can fulfill, for example the false hero/villain, the helper/sidekick, the donor, and the dispatcher. Many characters can represent the role and some can overlap. Protagonist/hero. These characters are most commonly the main characters of a thriller film, with the plot centering around them. They tend to be male. They can be varied in range of ages, ranging from old, such as Cole Sear in The Sixth Sense, to quite old, Jeff Jeffries in Rear Window. The age of the character does not really affect if they are the hero, but it does affect how much violence/action there is. The role is to stop the antagonist from doing something which they view as being bad, such as murder, and also rescuing the damsel in distress. An example of a protagonist that can do this can be Taken. This is where Brian Mills' daughter is kidnapped by terrorists and he has to rescue her. This goes with the conventions of regular thriller films, as he is a really tough old guy who knows how to fight and is on a mission to find and rescue his daughter from the terrorists who are the antagonists. I can take inspiration from Brian Mills, as he is a really manly guy because he is really tough, and also his costume makes him look very masculine, which goes with many of the conventions of the thriller film genre. He has to find and rescue his daughter from terrorists who has a lot of guns, and this means that he has to fight and he has to get shot at, which is a really masculine thing to do. Antagonists/villains. These are main types of characters that go against protagonists and have a desire to do evil and damage or hurt the hero. The gender of a villain are mainly men due to their evil, more tough look, as in like the stereotypes of normal media. Women are more likely to be seen as sidekicks to the villains, meaning that they serve the main antagonist as like the sidekicks to the antagonists. And there are examples of women being their main antagonists in thriller films, such for example in Inception. The main villain, Mal, who is female. This shows that women can play antagonistic roles in films. The stereotypical villain is usually very darker and very sinister, like for example Sauron in Lord of the Rings. He is a really dark and menacing antagonist who really creates fear because of how he is not human and more of a monster. His costume also incorporates a lot of black. This connotes darkness and evil, and also a lot of pointy bits on it, which creates fear in the audience because it's a really intimidating villain who kills people and wants to take over the whole of Middle-earth. The sidekick/helper. These type of characters usually serve the hero, or can also serve the antagonist as sidekicks to the villain, who follow them on their adventures/quests. Examples of this can be Sam from Lord of the Rings, who follows Frodo and is his best friend, but not really the main protagonist. These types of characters do not tend to be as powerful as the hero, as for example War Machine and Iron Man. They assist in the restoration of the equilibrium. The sidekick may be of the hero from the start, but can also meet them along the way on their quest, such for example the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, and also the Cowardly Lion, and also the Scarecrow. The sidekicks tend to be the weaker or smaller of the pair of the antagonist and sidekick. They tend not to be the main character because they're not the most important. They can differ along the lines of gender, for example Hermione and Ron Weasley in Harry Potter, as they are both Harry's sidekicks, but they're both different genders. 4. Other roles in thriller film in characters. The princess/objective. This type of role can be either a person or an object or an objective. This is meant to be the reason the hero wants to go on the quest. It can be a literal princess, such as Princess Leia from Star Wars, Or it can be an object, like the Lord of the Rings, like the ring from Lord of the Rings. Or it can be something else, like saving the world, like for example in Superman. This is what their hero is trying to save or accomplish from the villain. So the princess might not always be a person. I can use this in my movie because my princess might not be a physical object. It might be something that the protagonist is trying to save or like get for himself. Like for example his normal life or his soul. This can provide inspiration for my final film as I can change the princess of it so it goes against the stereotype like princess role. Another role can be the dispatcher. This person sends the character on his mission, on his way. This can be a character of significance because they are responsible for sending the main protagonist on his way. An example of this can be Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, who sends Luke on his way to train as a Jedi, and also Yoda, who helps Luke become a Jedi to defeat Darth Vader. The main reason why the dispatcher does this can vary. Like for example, it can be to better the protagonist, it can be because of some mystical prophecy, it could be because he believes that the protagonist has some inner power that needs to be unleashed. The dispatcher tends to be an older and wiser than the hero. They're figures of wisdom and knowledge that help the hero to fill their role as the main protagonist of the film. Like for example Gandalf giving the ring in Lord of the Rings to Frodo, starting a sequence of events that leads to Frodo destroying the ring and thus restoring an equilibrium to the film. And so there are many different types of characters, many can overlap. Gandalf can also serve as a sidekick as he does help Frodo along the way. It can also serve as there's also such thing as a false villain / hero. This is where a character at the beginning changes to another role at the end, so you might see him as a hero at the beginning but then he changes to a villain at the end. So it deceives the main protagonist and thus causing a plot twist. This really increases the suspense and also interest of the main audience because they want something like this to keep interested in the film, so it's not just a straight dead road to the end. It's more curvy, you can't really see around the corners. And yes, thank you for watching. This is Toro Productions.